Hello everyone, and welcome to my Composting 101, where I'm going to share with you how we take out only about one Target bag full of trash a week. And I know that sounds pretty crazy, but we have minimized our waste a ton thanks to composting over the past year. And we are, minimizing it a ton. So I just wanted to share our composting strategy, kind of how we're doing it, where everything is going. So I'm actually out here in my porch, and this is where we keep our compost because otherwise it would smell up our kitchen like crazy. So I'm just going to show you around so you can see kind of our setup. And it doesn't look beautiful. I will just let you know that because it is food that is in the process of decomposing. So just so you know. But something that we found that is key is just taking out the compost regularly so that it doesn't get gross. First of all, I'd just like to talk about how does composting work, because probably a lot of people are thinking, I'm not even sure what composting really entails. You kind of know that it means like breaking down of food, but how does that actually happen? So composting, it really is the process of like breaking down food, having it fully decomposed to the point where it looks basically like black dirt. It's just a lot more nutrient rich. Hi, Mom. And it's able to be used kind of like a fertilizer in your backyard, in your garden, in the grass. Like it can go pretty much anywhere. And then commercial facilities will also take compost so that they can, again, use it for kind of the same purpose, but sometimes it's resold. Sometimes it's just put back into the earth, whether it's like community projects or things like that, just to kind of, again, reduce the waste so that you're able to, just put food to use rather than having it just be in the landfill. So that's kind of the basis of how it works. The keys to having food actually be able to break down are sunlight, water, and heat. So I guess the heat comes from the sun, but that's kind of the basis of how it works. So in the process of it breaking down, food will break down faster if it's in darker containers and if it's in like really hot weather. So I'll show you what our compost bins actually look like in the backyard later as well, and then you'll see they are black, so they absorb the most heat. Let's see. I want to talk about what can be composted versus what can't. So when we first started composting, we just did it in the backyard. We didn't use any sort of commercial drop-off facility or anything like that. We just kind of started small. So when you're doing it in the backyard, it's going to be just like fruits and vegetables. Really not much more than that will break down just on its own kind of in your backyard as it's sitting out. The earthworms and things like that, like actual creepy crawly things, are a huge part in actually allowing the food to break down. So even if you just have some straight up putting the food in a pile in your backyard, like it will break down because of the things that are living in the earth, and they'll just kind of work their way into it and work it around and break it down for you. But with that said, fruits and vegetables are the easiest to break down. They break down the most quickly, along with anything from your yard. So whether that's grass clippings, leaves, things like that. Any of that comes kind of from your yard that you would normally use as like a yard waste kind of pickup, in terms of like having a trash company come and pick that up from your yard, like that can also go in the compost. And then random things like hair from a hairbrush, toenail clippings, stuff like that can also be composted in the backyard because they're small and they'll just kind of break down more quickly. Other things that can be composted, but this is more like commercial facilities, are like, let's see, well, it's meat, first of all. So any meat, bones, things like that, dairy products, beans, grains, honestly, anything but like grease or oil can be broken down in a commercial facility. So it gives you a lot more flexibility so that anything that you would otherwise be throwing out, you can pretty much bring it to a commercial composting site and they'll break it down. I know, it's pretty cool, Mom, that so many things can be composted. It really, like I said, for us to be able to only be getting rid of like a Target bag a week, it really is impressive with how much you can compost, because it just lessens waste. We try to use food up as much as possible, but I mean, we're not sitting here eating bones of a chicken. So what are we going to do once I'm done with bone broth? They have to be thrown away somehow, so then we just compost them to just lessen the waste. Let's see. So I'm going to show our setup with everything that we have going. So this is just right here, like I said, in our screened-in porch. I would say have a well-ventilated area for wherever you're going to have compost. This bigger white one right here is the one that we have for our backyard compost. So we'll fill it up kind of just like after dinner or as I move through meals. And then I'll just take that and dump it in our bigger bins in the backyard, but it's just kind of a good holding spot. And then this little one with the green, these are actually compostable, and they feel like plastic bags. They even sound like it too, but they're actually compostable. They're special bags that we bought on Amazon. So if you'd like to have the link, I can actually link that afterwards, where I got them. But I think it's a lot of bags, like probably 200, 300 bags for like $10 or something like that. So it was a pretty good deal. Maybe it was even more. I bet it might have been like 1,000. I don't even know. But it ended up that it was like super cheap per bag, so it ended up working out pretty nicely. And then, we just have this, I put this little rubber band around the top just to make sure that everything doesn't fall in. And that is our commercial composting bag. So then we use this one for bringing the compost to an actual commercial site, which is about 10 minutes from our house. I'll walk back here so that you can see the big compost bins in the backyard. I hope I don't disconnect from our Wi-Fi because this is a bit of a ways. But as you can see, I have multiple bins here. That ugly gray one is not going to be a thing in a bit, but these 3 black ones are great. This, the shortest one on the end is actually like a turning one, so it is able to spin. And composting, the more you can I'll actually show you, assuming I don't disconnect from my Wi-Fi. But the more you spin it and the more it tumbles and moves around, you can hear it in there. It's pretty gross because it's outside. But the more you can move it around, the quicker it will actually break down for you. And then these are just 2 really big bins. These are super nice because they have a top where you can pour everything in. And then this bottom piece actually comes up so that whatever is ready at the bottom, we can just scoop it out. There are lots of living things in there breaking down our food for us. So that's good. The biggest thing I would say with the compost is you do want to have some sort of large bin like that, that you can use to break down. Hi, Jessica. How are ya? Good to see you. You want to have bigger bins like this just because even just with fruits and vegetables, whatever you're left over with will build up pretty quickly. So it's really nice to be able to have something this big that, especially over the winter when the food and remains or whatever you want to call them are breaking down, they're able to just kind of build up, because in the winter foods will not break down. It's just too cold outside, and it just kind of, the decomposition process will freeze. And again, this is not going to be the prettiest sight, but you'll see in there, it's just kind of a bunch of crap and things that are breaking down. But that is the result of, we've had these since late last year, and they're still going. Oh, bummer. Okay, I'll come back. So we have, okay. Can you hear me now? I'm hoping that you can. Let me know if you can. And so that's what we have so far. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me and see me. Can you hear me now? Because I don't want to keep going if you can't. I don't know if it reconnected. Okay, you can hear me now. Good. Okay, thank you. All right. So, like I said, in the winter, the decomposition process will freeze. So, you want to have a place, especially to have, be able to have it build up if you're not just exclusively bringing your compost to like a commercial site like we do. It's nice to have a really big bin where it can kind of build up. Hi, Shayna. And then you can have it kind of fill up during the winter and you don't have to worry about like running out of space. But the beautiful thing about the winter and composting is that the food doesn't get gross and you don't have to deal with fruit flies. Like, I am not a person that likes Minnesota. I really have trouble living here, to be honest. But the one thing that I really honestly like about winter is that when we have our compost, it doesn't break down and it doesn't like attract bugs because they're not alive. So it's like the greatest thing to be able to just put things out here and not have to deal with any sort of living thing or fruit flies going up in your face or whatever. So that's lovely. So I would say if you're going to compost, like, you can do it all year long. It just looks a little bit different. In the summer, you just kind of have to be more aware that there are going to be living things that kind of get in there and are going to start decomposing your food as soon as it gets outside, pretty much, because once it's warm and there's something that smells like they want it, then they will find it. A few ways to kind of get rid of or like discourage fruit flies from joining your little habitat you have set up is to wrap them in paper. So you can wrap them either in like newspaper, straight up paper, butcher paper, like any of that. The more layers that you kind of have in terms of keeping the scent away from preying bugs or whatever, will keep them away, or at least keep them at bay. So that part, I would say, is really beneficial to wrap things up. I personally don't do it just because I don't want to take the time, honestly. I'm just like, whatever, I'll deal with the fruit flies. It's outside my house, they're not going to get in. So we just kind of don't really worry about that. I'm just trying to think of other things that I wanted to say. Oh, and then another thing. Hi, Abby. If you have foods that are quickly spoiling, as in like fruits and vegetables, I would say like the best way to keep the fruit flies from coming is to keep those like in your way kind of the far back compost that we have going. It's way easier just to have things that are going to decompose super fast and get moldy, or like, draw on the fruit flies really quickly. Like banana peels are one of them that's just crazy. Fruit flies just love that, and they will come there so quickly. So if you can just ship those right off into your far away space from your house, or your back door or whatever, that will help a lot in terms of keeping the bugs at bay. Okay, and then the last thing in terms of where you can take it. So I've talked about commercial facilities for composting, but I know that not every one may have them near them. So we have, in Minnesota, we have a commercial composting facility, like I said, about 10 minutes from our house. So it's pretty easy just to drive it there. It's free because I think just in the world that we are in, people want you to be more earth friendly. So if you're taking these steps to do it, they try to make it as easy on you as possible, which is really nice. But I would just say Google probably your county, because not even every zip code is going to have some sort of facility like that. But Google like your county with the word just commercial composting or composting pickup. Some cities will even have curbside pickup where you can literally put these bags like we have and then put them in like a regular size trash bin, or they'll like give you one, and usually it's blue. But you can just put those bags in there and they'll pick them up for you, and that's like, I mean, the ideal scenario if you could have that. We do not have that in our city, so it's just not really an option. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to kind of figure out where to drop them off. So I would just say look into that with your county, see what's available. And if not, just compost whatever you can in your backyard. Like I said, fruits and vegetables are the easiest in the backyard, and then eggshells to a point. Those take a bit longer to break down, but you can do that as well. So something is always better than nothing. Yeah, if you have any lingering questions about composting or the way we have it set up or anything, I'd love to answer them. So let me know, and hope you all have a great rest of your night. Thanks so much for watching.